the Pacers have been here before. They're
Hmm.
in this position for a reason. Andrew Nemhard has been pretty much, the main X factor. Obviously, Pascal Siakam's one of their superstars, but I think it's going to come down to how Miles Turner plays and what Tyrese Halliburton can do too, bro. It's crazy to say this, but the Timberwolves are also pretty good. And for me, they're one of the more dark horse teams in this playoff series. I definitely did not see them getting to the Western Conference Finals, but the way that they were playing the other night, again, I think, what was it? Randall went 13 of 18 and had 24 and 7 assists, like being able to control the game in that manner. They built like a 62-47 lead at halftime. And again, bro, we talked about it on the last pod, but Jimmy Butler had to give us 50. It didn't get done. And I
I
think
think going back home, Paycom Center, I think it's going to be, I think we talked about this earlier. Role players play better at home, so I think it's
for
gonna
sure.
juice is gonna be flowing. Hopefully J Dub. I think we're gonna need. You don't need to drop 25 or anything, but we need a solid 15 to like 18 points from him, man. I feel like that
And
you got to.
what's going on, everybody? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your lovely co-host ZD in the building with the lovely co-host CJ, man, and we're bringing you guys Three Man Weave. We're coming at you guys live on a Saturday, man. It's May 17th, so uh, crazy last few days of basketball. Obviously, we had a crazy night last night. I know New York was turning up, and OKC, man, like. They're in the trenches. Game seven, obviously, if you're a fan of basketball, you're a fan of game sevens. Everybody's a fan of game seven. Honestly, any sport, it's the best game in the world whenever it's a game seven. So, super excited to chop it up about some lovely hoops with you, my man. But how you doing today, bro?
Doing well, bro. Just got off of work and texted you right when you sent out the outline today. I was like, damn, I get to go on my rant today about the Thunder. So, well, it should be a good one, bro. But yeah, no, ready for that game seven, like you said, tomorrow, 2:30. Super
Yep.
excited, super, super. Just a little anxious. This it's like
Yeah.
this is win or go home. It's do or die, like Shay said, and he said that this is the moments that a player, as a player, you're hoping for. So we'll see, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Gordon's about to be out, so I think he's
Yeah, bro.
doubtful. But we'll get into that later. Sorry, but I'm doing great. Doing great.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, and just getting right into it, man. I'm doing great as well, and we were
Yeah, how are
just
you, bro?
talking about it. Yeah, we were just talking about it. Boston Celtics, got sent home, and your boy is all LA over here. So I am obviously the Jason Tatum injury. That's besides the point, but I am very happy to see them go home. But getting right into it, man. I think the Knicks dominated from the start, bro. They killed them 119-181 in Game Six. So just I don't like you said. What did you just say? I don't think they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals in the last 25
25
year or something.
years. Yeah, the last time they've
Yeah,
been is
bro.
2000, bro.
Yeah, bro, and just from the ongoing tip, they just controlled the pace of the game, and I think they jumped out to like a 36-20 lead, and bro, yeah, everybody. Again, we talked about this on the last podcast we just did, but when they play with all four guys and they're all able to get 20, 15, 20 points each, you're gonna get a game where you're gonna blow out a team that's losing their star play, that's lost their star player, and I think Jalen Brown had like 12 assists in this game, so he kind of had to play a point forward role, but. Um, the Knicks were just able to take advantage of Jason Tatum being sidelined, and like I said, they controlled this game throughout. I don't think they ever gave up the lead after they jumped out to that 36-20 lead. Um, I think it was like their biggest series clinching win like ever in terms of like win margin.
Hmm.
So they kind of just steamrolled them, man. Not really much to talk about on the Celtics side. I think what happened with Kristaps Porzingis is really interesting. He was just battling that illness for the last 3 months, which hopefully he can get better. I saw Missoula's exit interview, and he said that it was all a medical decision to kind of pull him from the game. So the Celtics were kind of down KP, even though he was in the starting lineup. But Derek White, Jalen Brown, and Peyton Pritchard, it's Al Horford, it's just not enough, bro. And ultimately, there's really no conversation. I think this series just as soon as Jason Tatum had got hurt, especially. But really, the entire time, especially in clutch time, the Knicks just looked like they were the better team, bro. And to be honest with you, that's super surprising. I know you had the Celtics going all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, and they're out of the bracket, but obviously the Knicks are the more deserving team. And again, they had another complete performance last night, and I think the Big Apple was turning up, bro. Like you can't obviously whenever New York gets a W in that way, people are going to be excited, and it was just a masterful performance. And I think what's going to be remembered in this series is like Jalen Brunson just kind of waving, I think, just in game 5, like, all right, like, we'll see you
Yeah.
guys. And,
See ya.
we're not really worried about it. We're gonna close this out in game 6. But I think Jay Hart had a double double, Cat had a double double. Their defense was amazing too in this game. I think this is the best defensive game from them. Obviously, the didn't have Jason Tatum, so that's going to play a part. But the Knicks were still able to do everything on the defensive side. Just a great game of basketball, bro, from them, and it makes it unwatchable, bro. I think they had this game circled, and they were like, "We're not losing this. We're going to play together. Everybody's going to get involved." And I think they were really running like a well-oiled machine, bro. Like I was watching the first half, like, because I was doing my meeting yesterday, and I was talking to Lewis. I was like, bro, like, we may not even need to watch this. Like, the Celtics are kind of just not really playing to their strength. And obviously, whenever, a team is missing their star player, it's going to impact them. But yeah, they just struggled to find offensive continuity and rhythm throughout this game. And it shows in the box score. But I really have nothing else to say outside of that, bro. It was just a masterclass. It was a massacre. The Knicks, yeah, bro, they were partying like there was no tomorrow. I think Jalen Brunson's the official king of New York without a doubt. Um, you think he's one of the best Knicks players ever already?
We yeah. Yeah, we could definitely have that conversation. I think so.
Wow,
I
like
think
top
like
three.
yeah, I was gonna say like Bernard King, of course. Like, you know.
I might even say Brunson. Like I think Bernard King is cold and he's had some performances, but if Brunson keeps doing this for the next couple of years, bro, like at some point
That's true.
you're like,
Didn't he win a ring
and
though?
Melo too, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, I love Melo, but I'm like, boy, you wasn't doing that
I think Brunson's better than Melo.
for real.
Yeah, like as a Nick, yeah, I would
I
say so.
agree. I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
agree.
I,
They
I
just
think he's in that conversation for sure.
For sure. Yeah, the win closed out, obviously them winning the series 4-2 and just kind of punctuated everything we were just talking about. I think Brunson was kind of the player of the series, in my opinion, especially in the first 2 games, kind of giving them the punch that they needed in clutch time. And for me, that's why the Knicks were able to win. I think those first 2 games, that's what did it, bro. Like, there you go. That's why the Celtics lost. You can't lose on your home court. That's another good example, especially 2 straight games. And McCall Bridges just getting those game-winning steals. I think we can kind of put a bow on this series and move on, bro. I think for me, like I started a couple minutes ago, I'm just joyful the Celtics are out of here. But to give the Knicks credit, I think is really, it says something about me, what kind of this perspective that has changed on Tom Thibodeau for me and
Facts.
CJ. I think he's done a good job of coaching those guys and putting them in the right positions to win. And ultimately, I think it's showing in their results. And we're going to talk about it in a second after you give your opinion. But this Pacers Knicks series should be much better in probably 7 games.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, bro. You explained it perfectly, man. That was a great closing of kind of where the Knicks are at.
Yeah,
Like
you don't
you
even have to talk. I was gonna say you don't even have to talk about the game, bro.
yeah.
Just absolute massacre.
Yeah. I was just kind of what you were saying about Thibs, and we've been judging the way he coaches, and obviously it's working. So we definitely are, you know, we're
Yeah, we're in debt a bit, bro.
yeah.
I'll give him his flowers. Of
But hey, that's I think that's why it's not like we didn't want to see that. I wanted to see them
course.
do well because I feel like when the Knicks are good, like basketball is fun. Like
Oh yeah,
everyone
yeah,
is like
bro.
involved when the Knicks are like even the Lakers. It's like
Do it. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember that you said this on the last pod or the pod before. You brought up how like Thibodeau playing them 40 minutes in the regular season, you can see how that's not an issue now. And
Yeah,
I think that's kind of again like I'm sure the Nuggets are extremely exhausted. We'll get into that a little bit later, but those guys aren't used to playing 45 minutes every single day. But
right.
McCall Bridges is, OG Anunoby is, Brunson is, Cat is, like Josh Hart is. So
Hmm.
clearly, bro, like I was just like you were saying, I was just explaining. They outplayed them, but I think they outsmarted them in the sense that they're going to be able to play this style of basketball, play 45 minutes, play extremely well on defense, and then be able to have four guys that can score 25 points or more. Or in the Celtics case, they have a deep team for sure, but you spoke about this too on the last podcast. They don't know who's getting the ball at the end of the game. They
Right.
don't really know what to do in a close game situation because they're so deep. And I think just having Jalen Brunson, somebody that you can trust in that way, that's ultimately what decided the series is those two games. So shout out to the Knicks, bro. I think, like, me and CJ have said it, you guys deserve your flowers. And we're excited to see, obviously, kind of going right into it. Playing the Pacers, I think they're going to have to battle, bro. For me, it's really going to be what they can do defensively. I think they match up extremely well. Pascal Siakam, has been torching people. He was torching, obviously, the Bucks and then most recently the Cavaliers. But he shouldn't really be able to do too much in this series, right? Like, do you think OG and McCall Bridges could slow somebody like that down?
I
It's
think they
probably
could.
Tyrese.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
Tyrese is gonna, and that's something, the Knicks or the Knicks. Obviously Jalen Brunson isn't the best defender, so it's like
Oh, yeah.
to him and Tyrese, that's gonna be a good battle because it's gonna be like who's gonna be on that night. Honestly, I feel like that's where we're gonna be at, and that's kind of why, like for my prediction, I don't know if you want to get into that real quick. I
You
would
can go ahead. You
say,
can get it to me.
I think I would say probably Knicks in seven.
Wow. I was going to go Pacers in seven.
Really.
Yeah, I think that if they can play decent defense, I think they're going to have the offense to be able to beat the Knicks. And they're also a bit better rested in the sense that, like, all right, they've had an easier path to where they've gotten. And I think the Knicks are kind of, yes, they're rejoiceful, they're happy, but I think there's a chance to fall off the cliff with that. You don't want to
For
get
sure.
too happy about where you are, and it makes me kind of scary. Like I don't want to get too excited, but seeing all the social media yesterday, all this, I'm like, man, y'all celebrating like you won the finals, boy. Like I get
Facts.
it, but you got to go through a damn good team in the Pacers, and we're
For
about to get
sure.
into it, man. Like
Yep.
again, the Pacers have been here before. They're
Hmm.
in this position for a reason. Andrew Nemhard has been pretty much, the main X factor. Obviously, Pascal Siakam's one of their superstars, but I think it's going to come down to how Miles Turner plays and what Tyrese Halliburton can do too, bro. Miles Turner is hitting threes because they don't have like I think Cat and Jalen Brunson are mainly the problems on defense, and Miles Turner is definitely a good offensive player, and if he's going off, I think everybody else on the Pacers is going to be able to kind of revolve around that, bro. And I think they can use him as kind of a piece to give the Knicks a taste of their own medicine. I think Cat is kind of a better version of Miles Turner, but Miles Turner is definitely a better defensive player, and I think that's kind of where he has that upper hand. So, like I'm saying, bro, if the Pacers can figure it out on defense, I think they're going to be able to take the series in seven. But ultimately, they've been playing extremely fast all playoffs. I think the Knicks kind of have to keep up with the pace to be able to do this. They can do that though. They've shown us that they have four or five guys that can score 20 points.
Hmm.
Um, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first game will be
On
because the
Wednesday.
Knicks had it'll be, but the Knicks had home. They have home court in the first game, right?
No, I think the Pacers do.
Or
Hold
the
up.
Pacers do.
Yeah, let me check.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
no, no,
but
no. Sorry, the Knicks do.
I was gonna say the Knicks were higher seeded, I
Yeah, they were
think,
at
but
three,
yeah,
three,
so
four.
they have home court. Obviously, that first game in the Garden's going to be rocking, and kind of hearing Mike Breen's voice on the call is going to be exciting. And I think Tyrese Halliburton, bro, Jalen Brunson, that's going to be a matchup to watch. But I'm extremely excited to watch these games how they play out. I know. again, man, whenever we get into this point of the season, it's kind of they're gonna go seven guys. You're gonna see all the players go 45 minutes like you've been seeing, and it's just gonna be a battle of like wits, bro, and who can outlast each other. I think that's kind of what I meant to say earlier in the earlier segment is I think the Knicks outlasted the Celtics, and what I mean by that is they went through the injuries. They're playing the same amount of minutes. Like they were able to play their style of basketball a bit better. And Knicks Pacers is going to be another hell of a fight,
Banger,
bro. It's going to be a
banger.
battle. So I'm excited. I think it would be really cool to see the Indiana Pacers go to the NBA Finals, but also it would be cool to see the Knicks go to the NBA Finals. And I don't have a horse in this race. I'm not particularly worried about who wins, but I think the Pacers will get it in seven.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I like that, bro. Because that
Yeah.
they have been, like you just explained, they have been the best offense in this postseason, honestly. And I feel like that's like you said, it's gonna be a chess match pretty much with the
Oh
coaches.
yeah, bro. It's
So
going to be a battle.
Thibs versus Carlisle. So it's gonna be a banger,
Yeah,
bro.
I think they have, let's see, one, two, three. There's five players in that series that are on my all playoff team.
Mm.
So
Okay.
very good series.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I was about
Yeah.
to say the only thing I have, Knicks in seven for really the main reason. Not saying obviously we've seen that the Pacers can do really well in the clutch, but I think the Knicks that is their time. It's crazy to say this, but like
I was gonna say it'll be a battle, like
it's
because
I
they're
feel
both,
like
yeah,
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 I feel like it's gonna be those like kind of how the Celtics like it was for the Knicks and the Celtics. Those first
yeah.
two couple
Okay.
games. Like I feel like that's how the series is gonna be. It's gonna be in like a lot of those clutch moments, and I'm not gonna lie. I think that's why I took the Knicks for the main reason is because they have Jalen Brunson. Honestly, he's playing at that type of caliber, and if you could get, like you said, they have the potential to get four players scoring 20 plus each game. So Jalen Brunson, I feel like he's gonna do pretty well. I mean, like he's been doing pretty much this whole playoffs. But I think with the Halliburton assignment, it's gonna be them going back and forth the whole time. So it should be exciting. But I think I'm sticking with Jalen Brunson and the Knicks, man. I think that's
Like that.
who I'm going with for sure.
That's fine. Yeah, I think the Pacers have proven to me that they can outscore anybody. They're just a super complete team, and the Knicks they have some depth issues. I think the Pacers
Mm-hmm.
have a bit better bench, and to me, I think that's another thing that will ultimately decide a lot of things, bro. Free throws, bench, clutch, right there is probably those three things.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how that series kind of plays out, depending on which team can win those three categories.
Mm-hmm.
Probably offensive rebounding as well. I think the Knicks definitely can kill people on the glass. Mitchell Robinson is just a menace there, and we'll see if Miles Turner and the other guys can keep him off the glass. So, yeah, more props to the Knicks, bro. Obviously, shout out to New York. You guys have held down the building all season. You guys are here, man. This is what you play for, a chance to go to the NBA Finals. And in my lifetime, I have not seen the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. So, pretty crazy stuff. But I'm excited. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
man.
The opportunity's there.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, we're gonna head out west, talk about the Timberwolves and Warriors, man. Did you watch that game at all? Because I asked you that because, bro, on Wednesday you said it, bro, and for people, I hope they nuked it, but Julius Muff Randle, bro.
Oh, my fault. It was yeah. It was his points 21 and a half. It was Jalen Brown 26 and a half. And he got
Okay.
26. Cuz you remember
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was like he was cooking. He had like 18 in the first half or
Yeah,
something.
okay, he sold you. Okay, that makes more
That's when
sense.
he
But I was gonna
sold
say
me.
Randall's line was
Not
not that high. I
no,
was like,
not Randall,
whoa.
not Randall.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, 25. I was like, whoa, I didn't see that. Fuck. But basically took over the game, and he's the reason they won the series, bro. I wanted to start off with him because I think the reason that fits into the Knicks is why, CJ.
Cuz he used to play for the Knicks last
Right.
season.
And I think it's cool how you've brought up again, he'll probably make our all playoff team as well, but you've brought up that if you go through his shot creator, great resource by the way. Bro, you can see his improvement, man. I don't think he's had a game under 15 points. A lot of rebounds, big threes, some assists as well, some
Assists,
triple
yeah.
doubles
Yep.
too. He's been awesome, bro. And I think he's the reason why Minnesota. I mean, Ant, of course,
Of
again, he had
course.
24 in this game, bro. And he looks very confident with the team that's built around him. It's crazy to say this, but the Timberwolves are also pretty good. And for me, they're one of the more dark horse teams in this playoff series. I definitely did not see them getting to the Western Conference Finals. But the way that they were playing the other night, again, I think, what was it? Randall went 13 of 18 and had 24 and 7 assists, like being able to control the game in that manner. They built like a 62-47 lead at halftime. And again, bro, we talked about it on the last pod, but Jimmy Butler had to give us 50. It didn't get done. And I think again, bro, when Steph Curry's, what did you say earlier before we hopped on? You can say it. When Steph
What?
Curry, they said that Ant beat Curry, right?
Oh yeah, bro. So people are saying that obviously Ant beat KD last year, Ant beat LeBron this year, and then now they're saying Ant beat Curry, and it's like, bro,
Which
Curry
I
got
think is BS.
his BS. He played. He
Now,
didn't even play one full game. He got injured game one.
bro, that's what I'm saying. And I was going to bring up like when he's not available, the Warriors are a lost cause.
Right.
They lost 121 to 110. They didn't lose by a ton in this series. I don't think their margin of like the way that they lost was massive. But
Right.
again, bro, they were just able to maintain their lead despite the Warriors making a little bit of a surge at the end of the game. And I think it's just a testament to how the Timberwolves have been able to build their team around Ant and Nikhil Alexander Walker and Jaden McDaniels and Draymond Green's exit interview. He was talking about it, and he brought up that a reporter asked him a really good question. Actually, he was like, "Oh, so do you think like?" Because he brought up like how in the All Star break, obviously we talked about this too a few months ago, but Draymond was saying they're going to the finals, whatever. That didn't happen. I think the series would have won 7 games if Steph was here. And
Yeah.
so like Draymond said that thinking Steph was going to be a part of it. So I'm not going to hold him to that. Obviously, we can't control that. But the reporter asked him about that, and he was like, "Hey, like you got me, like you got me." But he asked him a good question. He's like, "So now, do you think that the Timberwolves can go to the finals?" He thought about it like this for a second. He's like, now that you say that, he's like, yeah, like they have all the pieces that they need. Nikhil Alexander Walker, like I was just saying, Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle. He was talking about him. If he continues to play this way, there's really no reason why, again, he can't supplement Ant and be somebody who's scoring the other 25 points a game to give them 50 from that half. That
Yeah.
little duo is getting 50 points just from them. And he was saying Rudy was playing great too. Rudy, people kind of don't give him enough credit anymore, especially after the COVID debacle and kind of the type of player that he's turned into. But he's been extremely, playing at a high level pretty much all series and killed the Lakers. Didn't do like a ton of damage to the Warriors, but again provided some value when they needed it. And I think they were just the more complete team. My analysis of the series is like the Warriors, since Steph Curry went down, didn't really have the ability anymore to be able to keep up with the Timberwolves' pace and their offense. And I think the Timberwolves' offense finally got going, and they're a dangerous team when their offense is humming. We saw it against the Lakers, and we saw it against the Warriors.
Warriors.
Like whenever they're shooting threes and they're able to score 120 points a game, 125, they're going to win a lot of games because they're going to hold teams to that lower scoring margin. And I haven't given them enough credit too because their defense has been great. They had another pretty good defensive game last night. Just extremely proud of what they've been able to do, man. If you're a Minnesota fan, bro, you should be really, really happy from what you've seen from Ant and all the supplemental pieces. I posted something on our Instagram about Mike Conley today, and he was telling him like, "Yo, like I don't have much time. Like it's kind of now or never, right? Like we got to just figure this out." And they're here, bro. I think they're going to be playing the Thunder. We'll get into that series in a second, but um, I don't know if they're going to get to the finals, but I think they have an opportunity. Like we were just talking about the Knicks and Pacers series, and ultimately they're the first team to move on, and I think it's going to help them. They got some rest. They've been playing very well all playoff series. I don't think they're going to lose any momentum. I think Chris Finch deserves a lot of credit for what he's been able to do for this team, and obviously their front office was having some issues earlier in the season, but they got figured out. Now all the ownership is good. Alex Rodriguez is doing his thing, and yeah, bro, the Timberwolves, they have hope. They have hope, bro. But what are your thoughts, man? I don't know if you watched it at all. I only watched the second half, but
No, I went to the gym right after we had shut the pod, and I just ended up staying a little longer. But I saw obviously the stats and kind of what the final score was, and just kind of realized it. Like I told you, bro, and I replied to it on Twitter. Julius Randle has shut me up about being a playoff
oh
failure,
yeah, I saw that.
100%,
I
bro.
saw that.
And it's just as simple as that. I think you know last year whenever the Wolves were able to make it to the Western Conference Finals, they didn't really have. Obviously, they had Cat, but Randall is kind of proving to us that that trade between the Knicks and the Timberwolves might be probably one of the most equal trades we've seen in probably since
Yeah,
yeah, like
Halliburton and
Halliburton,
Sabonis.
Sabonis, yeah, exactly. So,
Like it's not a
um,
long time, but
no,
yeah.
yeah, it's not a long time, but yeah, it's crazy to think, just kind of what he's been able to prove to us and his shot making ability, and like you said, being able to do pretty much whatever needs to get done that game. Because I think the thing that with the Timberwolves that makes them such a good team is kind of like what we were saying about how the Knicks are. They have someone that they know the ball is going to be in the hands of pretty much majority of the game, and they're comfortable with
Yeah,
that, and they know where to be on the court. And like
exactly.
you said, when you have Julius Randle hitting threes and pretty much bullying anybody, like whenever he gets the ball, he's like you said, I don't think he's dropped less than 15 points this whole postseason. So I think it kind of just shows, like, proves to me how much of like a better player he's developed into,
Yeah, he's
and
turned
kind of
into, bro.
yeah,
When he's healthy, bro. Yeah. He
it's a
looks
scary
skinny, he
sight.
looks fit. Yeah, bro. He
Yeah,
looks awesome.
yeah.
Wow.
So, but like you said, the game or their success prior to Julius Randle doing this well is Ant. So that's kind of whoever their opponent is. Hopefully it's the Thunder, but whatever that happens that series, I think he's gonna Ant's gonna have to do what he does. But I think if Julius Randle's able to just keep the how he's been playing up, like you don't even need to play to that level, but anywhere near that, they're gonna be such a hard team to beat because defensively they're probably one of the better teams still left in the postseason. And I think when you're having, like you said, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, like they get it going, they start hitting some threes, and they're a scary team, bro. And I obviously
Yeah.
we're in the same division, so I saw those games pretty frequently throughout the season, and at Target Center, bro, it gets a little rowdy out there. So it's
For
gonna
sure, bro. Yeah.
whoever ends up facing them, like I said, hopefully it's the Thunder. It's gonna be tough, but super impressed with them, bro. Like I said, it's if you would have told me that the Timberwolves would be in the Western Conference Finals, half like at the start of this postseason, I would have told you you're a liar.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do remember you saying though that they were one of the teams, heading towards the end of the regular season. They're one of those teams that like the record doesn't show how good of a team they are, though. I remember you saying that.
Right.
So
Very, very yeah, like it's very the looks can be deceiving.
very
Exactly.
so. But no, yeah, just
I love that.
shout out to
It's
Minnesota.
perfect.
Like you said, they have hope, man. It's been. I mean, obviously they went to the Western
Yeah.
Conference Finals last year, but potentially having a chance to make it into the finals again, back to back years. It's can't
Well,
ask
I
for
was
more.
gonna say I think going in just a little bit more, we'll see, bro. Like if they get here and they fuck up again, I'm gonna be like, all right, well, and they're gonna have to make some changes
For sure, for sure.
because I don't know if Rudy Gobert is the answer, right? Especially against the again. I think okay, we'll talk about it in a second. I think the Thunder get it done in Game 7. They're 8-point favorites, which are this bullshit. You could take the Nuggets, whatever you want to do,
Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
whenever Gobert is going up against fucking Chet Holmgren, who's honestly Rudy Gobert gets 4 blocks a game. Chet Holmgren gets 4 blocks a game. Rudy Gobert can't dribble, can't shoot, can't do anything else. He can dunk. Chet Holmgren can dunk, can shoot, can dribble, can shoot free throw. Like,
Yeah,
come on now. And he
yeah,
can block shots like you.
yeah.
So he can do what you do, but then all this other
All
stuff,
there's
bro,
on the
like
offensive side of
good
the ball.
luck,
Yeah,
bro. Yeah, all that other stuff. Like he can get 4 blocks or 6 or 7
yeah,
too.
hundred
Like
percent.
that's yeah, he's doing what you do. Like I don't know, we'll see.
We'll see.
And
We'll
I
see.
got the Thunder, bro, but I'm excited to get it straight into that, man. What were your thoughts on Game 6, bro? Definitely, this was the craziest game we had on our docket. most competitive, and obviously the score. Honestly, the score doesn't really reflect that. You know,
Uh-huh.
119, 107, but like that's still a close game. But what are your thoughts, CJ? Man, I'll let you have the floor, bro.
Yeah, man. So let me just start this off by saying I wasn't able to watch the first half of the game really because we were shooting for Vandergrift High again. We're trying to do like their
Yeah,
practice footage and shit. Gotta shout out to the
building
boys.
portfolio.
But I was able to start listening on like NBA TV, like radio, whenever you don't have like the nationally televised game, you're able to listen to the game, and we were beating them by 12 with 2 minutes left in the first half. And it's crazy because I think you said that you watch or you listened to a game or you experienced a game like this before, like listening to it. It
Radio.
definitely it
Yeah,
definitely is like a very interesting.
nostalgic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
like
nostalgic
yeah,
kind of.
because it's like it was just cool, bro. Because I was driving on the way
You
back
have to
home.
picture it.
Yeah, like you're
Yeah,
having to think about it, and they do a great job of explaining it. So, but yeah, no. They Nuggets end up tying it, I believe, going into probably like a couple seconds left in the second half, and then Lou Dort ends up hitting a big three
that
going
three,
into
right?
halftime. So we're up by 3 going into the half. I started watching it a little into the third quarter, so I got to experience everything. And bro, like, just what can I say? For one, I'm gonna talk about with the Thunder, what was going on with them. Obviously, we know. Obviously, if you look at the box score, Jalen Williams did not have the greatest game. Went a little ghost. He's been ghost pretty much these last 2 games, but um, that obviously his performance. But I think it was really like second chance points, bro. The Nuggets were getting so many offensive rebounds and getting extra possessions, and in the playoffs, that's such a huge contributing factor to why a lot of teams win these games. And I think that's why the Knicks are able to scrape out with those wins against the Celtics in the in their series. But just stuff like that, bro. And obviously Julian Strother, shout out to him. If you
Man.
know, Gonzaga boy, but hasn't
Mm.
done anything this whole series. Comes off the bench, game 6, drops 15 points on our head. What
Bro,
what else?
I
What
told
good
you
else can you
they
say?
had to put him in, bro. I told you.
You did, you did,
I was like, they got to put in somebody on their bench.
yeah. Because like you said, leading up to this point, the Nuggets bench has been, they haven't really been given the opportunities, I guess. But even when they get the opportunity, they have not been the greatest. So shout out to Julian Strother. This is his game for sure, and kind of ending it off. We started to kind of pick up the pace. I think the offense just kind of seemed like it gets that 2-3 zone, bro. The fact that is still giving us problems, it's a little worrisome because I feel like that's kind of how the Mavs beat us last year. So it's kind of like how this has happened, obviously back to back years, which, not mad at it. We're still an opportunity to still advance, but the fact that this type of defense is giving us this much problems, for me, it just kind of proves how we can improve on our team this following season, no matter what
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
happens. You know what I mean? Just because that should not be what stops us from being able to get to Western Conference Finals or Finals. But what's
I was
up?
gonna say too. I'll be honest. Like in the first half, because I was watching it. I think so. For people who don't know, Jamal Murray was battling a sickness. Whatever
Sickness.
people were saying, it was a Jordan flu game. I don't think it was that. I think he had a fever and he was trying to go. I don't even think he had the flu. I will say this though. For the Thunder to be the best defensive team in the last decade, they're getting absolutely torched by him,
Yeah.
and it's pretty weird because like he's not the biggest guy. He's not that strong. Like he's kind of again, he's just Jamal Murray, but I think at times it looks like they can't really guard him, and they already have somebody that they know they can't be able to guard in Nikola Jokic. I just think that they have too much to deal with those two guys. But you can keep finishing out what you were saying.
No, yeah, that was a great point, bro. Honestly, because he has been having a crazy series so far. I feel like when he obviously, I think I said it last podcast we shot. I think Jokic and Jamal Murray is probably the best, 2-man game I've ever seen, probably ever, honestly. So it's a tough matchup, but we do have the bodies. But even with us having, great defenders, elite defenders, some of them, and it's like he's still able to fry us. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much, what was I saying? Julian Strother, and then obviously Aaron Gordon. He left
Yeah.
the was it the fourth quarter or third quarter?
Yeah, I was in the fourth.
Fourth, yeah. He ended up leaving with, I think it's a hamstring. He's doubtful for this upcoming game. I think I said that earlier whenever we started the pod. Um, I mean, I'm not happy, but like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Aaron Gordon is the reason why they've won a couple of these games. So it's
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like to see people get injured because I know that is gonna be, oh well, Aaron Gordon was injured. It wasn't even their full teams. I know that's if those, if the Thunder win and hopefully they do, it's kind of that's gonna be the narrative if Aaron Gordon doesn't play. But I think we talked about it earlier. Um, I think he might play some. Honestly, we'll see. Obviously,
I think he's gonna
hamstring.
go.
I think
Yeah, I think he's gonna try to go.
you're just gonna you have
So,
to in moments like this.
yeah, you have
Like
you
kind of
have to
like what
try.
Shea was saying. At the end of game six, the after game like presser and stuff like that. This is do or die. This is what basketball players. This is what we live for. So moments like this, and kind of. Shea has been playing great. I haven't really brought his performances and kind of how he's been having it as a series. He shot very efficient this game, 11 for 16, and got to the free throw line. So we had a great Shea game. I think it was just kind of who else, and I think that was a question I had for myself throughout this whole year. Who
Man,
else
oh
was going to be able to
man,
step
who
up?
else is gonna save them,
And
man?
I think that's you know it's the thing that's killing us right now, and obviously that zone is still giving us problems, like I said earlier. So yeah, man, it's going into
Russell
games.
Westbrook,
Yeah,
Christian Brown, Julian
Christian.
Strother.
Yeah,
There you go. There you go, man. I think the Nuggets have to play into Chris CB in Game 7. But yeah, bro, just a lovely performance. I think Nikola Jokic, it wasn't a masterclass by him, but he controlled the pace in the game in the first half. Like I said, Jamal Murray started off frying from really the beginning of the game. He ended up finishing, I think, it was like 25 or 27 points or something like that. But again, bro, I think Coach Adelman's done a good job too of kind of figuring out how to get other guys involved whenever they do double Jokic. And then I think Jokic has been, kind of figuring out in this series how to be more efficient and kind of put his imprint on the game. I think in the last, what was it, game 3, game 4, whenever he was shooting 30% from the field, like they're not going to be able to win like that. He needs to be playing better, and they got a better game out of him. Like you said it, bro, Julian Strother game. I told you on the last podcast, like the Nuggets, I tweeted something. It was like they're like 6 deep, and they're playing with probably one of the best teams we've seen in the last decade. They don't have anybody that they can go to on their bench, and they're still going. They're in a game 7 with probably like the best team I've seen in the last 10 years. So they got to figure out their bench unit. And again, if Julian Strother can do that, you said it before we started recording, bro, but I don't know if that's going to happen in game 7, right? But if he can give us that, great. But yeah, whenever the Thunder aren't necessarily prepared for that, and again, they're still trying to figure out the 2-3. I think Lou Dort, he's hitting some timely threes. Caruso's had some timely buckets. I think Holmgren as well. For me, he's probably been their next go-to guy. I don't know if it's J-Dub in this series. I don't know. It might be a bad matchup. Like he blew a layup, blew a dunk. I think Peyton Watson blocked
blocked
him too.
him.
So yeah, like there was a couple moments in the game where I'm like, it's just not J-Dub's night. Maybe it's not the best matchup for him. I know he had a good game. I think it was game 3, but
3.
outside of that, it's been tough for him. And I think the Nuggets they can live with that. But ultimately, bro, I think it's gonna come down to just the depth and late in the game, bro. I think truthfully, I think what happened was the Nuggets were focused. They had built a lead. The Thunder tried to recant. I know Shea had an and one on Christian Brown, and even talking about Shea for a second, Christian Brown said that he's probably the toughest player he's ever had to guard in his life. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, no, the Thunder were battling at the end of the game. They still made it close. I think Jamal Murray is in my opinion, bro, if it's a close game, like I'm taking Jamal Murray, just the closer that he is, and he's been able to get the job done. Um, they had a couple opportunities to hit some threes at the end of the game, but they just couldn't get it done. And I think the Thunder had opportunities to win this game, bro. Like you were
Mm-hmm.
saying, they were up at halftime. They were playing well. They didn't seem like they were going to let go of the rope, but I think J-Dub, shooting 3 of 15, it definitely hurts them. And then when they aren't able to get an extreme contribution from Alex Caruso or Aaron Wiggins or Casey Wallace, you end up with a game like this. And kind of going into Game 7, what are your thoughts on how they have to kind of get this win and figure out how they can make the Western Conference Finals and have the opportunity to potentially win their first NBA championship in franchise history?
Yeah, bro. It's gonna be figuring out. I think it's obviously they know how to break a 2-3 zone. It's hitting shots and obviously like backdoor cuts and a lot of movement. So I think
Yeah.
that's gonna be just. I feel like if we haven't really figured it out at this point, I don't know if we will. I think
No, right.
at this point, honestly, I think it's just gonna be us hitting shots. We gotta knock down our threes, bro. We've been shooting.
Okay.
We did a decent job. Or no, we
In
did.
this last one,
We were 28%.
right?
So
Oh,
not really this last game. I think it was game probably 3. Honestly, I think that was our one
okay.
game that we blew them out and we were actually hitting our shots. But pretty much this whole series, we've been pretty inconsistent with that.
That makes
So
sense.
I think going back home, Paycom Center. I think it's gonna be. I think we talked about this earlier. Role players play better at home, so I think it's
For
gonna
sure.
juice is gonna be flowing. Hopefully J Dub. I think we're gonna need. You don't need to drop 25 or anything, but we need a solid 15 to like 18 points from him, man. I feel like that
And
you got to be able, like you said, he got blocked by Peyton
at least
Watson. He
12.
blew like a layup, so it's just like little stuff like that. And he had a decent game besides his shooting. He had
Yeah, rebounds and assists,
rebounds,
for sure.
assists, yeah, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. So it's not like he was just
You say, look at that prop, bro.
yeah,
That's been money all series. He's been great,
yeah. But
but not smart.
I think it's just being able to. I think we need to kind of blitz them a little bit. I think that's when
Mm.
we play our best basketball. We start off,
Double Murray, maybe.
yeah. Shit, we might have to, bro.
I
I
was thinking about that too. I was like, they'd be doubling Jokic, but maybe they should just
Yeah,
get the ball out of Jamal Murray's
Murray,
hands.
especially when he's hitting his shots
Cooking.
like he has been, and it's gonna be tough, bro. It's gonna be a huge game. I'm like I told you earlier. I'm like super excited, like I'm pretty anxious though because I
I
know
will
this is
say
gonna be
this,
a
bro.
battle.
I think the Nuggets will win if they get any contribution from Michael Porter Jr., Russell Westbrook, and Christian Brown. If two of those four players have a bad game, they're not going to win.
Mm,
But if they get contributions from all of those guys, the Thunder are going to be in some trouble, I think. And
yeah,
I cannot believe I'm even conceiving that. On May, like I'm saying, May 17th is a Saturday. I thought, like, truthfully, in my opinion, I was like set on the Thunder going to the NBA Finals, but like Shay said, it's do or die. I think Nikola Jokic is going to bring his A game. Bro, I have a little bit of trivia for you before we get into the next segment, but do you know how many Game 7s Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray have played in?
is it like 10?
Closest, 7.
Damn,
But a lot.
a lot.
So those guys
Yeah,
have a lot. They've taken losses, a lot. And I think the Thunder, man, like I think it's going to come down to just experience in the moment,
yeah,
to be honest. Game 7 is a different type of game. It's just winner takes all, and you're going to be feeling a lot different. And I don't know how used to that they are, that type of atmosphere. It's going to be at home,
yeah.
so they're going to have the home court, and I think that's going to play to their advantage. But like I said, if MPJ, if Christian Brown, if Russell Westbrook are scoring 20, 25 points, it's going to look a lot different, for sure. And they play at 2:30, which is kind of a weird window. I
Sucks.
don't like it, but I think their consistency, their aggressiveness, the Thunder have all the tools to be able to pull this series win out. And I think they can beat the Nuggets, bro. Like the Nuggets are better than the Timberwolves, I'll be honest. So I think the Timberwolves had a bit of an easier way to where they're at, and that's no slight to them. But I think the Nuggets would beat the Timberwolves right now. And I think if the Thunder can prove that they can beat the Nuggets, obviously in 7 games, they should be able to handle the Timberwolves. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Is I think the Nuggets will lose Game 7. And I think, Shea, J-Dub, they'll be able to get it down. Chet Holmgren, Caruso, Aaron Wiggins, Wallace, all those guys that they've been playing, man, they're going to have to show up and show out. So I'm excited, bro, and I know you are too, man. You're going to have to get your popcorn ready, man. Coach
Oh
Adelman said you got to tune in if you love basketball.
yeah, yeah, bro.
Game
It's
7,
the
for
two
sure.
words that we love as basketball fans, bro. And it sucks that my team's
100%,
in it, but it makes it even a little more interesting for me. So
for sure.
I'm excited, man. We'll see, but yeah, like pretty much what you said. I think it's gonna be tough. Uh, if we've never been in a game 7 as a team, so we gotta. This is a huge test for us. Like being going against probably one of the more experienced teams like
That's
for
the
the
thing.
postseason.
NBA champions on the
NBA,
other side, for
yeah,
sure.
it's gonna this game is gonna prove a lot to me, pretty much. So I think the podcast that we shoot on Monday should be very interesting. Hopefully that we're able to scrape out with this win, bro. But I think, like I was telling you, I think if it comes down to the clutch moments, it's gonna be tough. Jamal Murray, like we've been saying all this whole really his
I think
whole
Shea's got it
playoffs,
too, though.
his just
I think Shea's got it.
oh yeah,
Shea's
yeah,
got it.
I think so
Shea's
too.
got it.
I think it's gonna be pretty much what we've been saying, like for all the for the Nuggets, like it,
Bro, the Thunder could go to the NBA Finals, bro.
bro. I know.
That's so fucking crazy. Like I've seen that once when I was a kid, and I honestly didn't think that I'd see that like soon before I got older. So I hope they can win on Sunday for sure, bro. That's what I'm going for. Cause
Yes,
I'm
sir.
like, man, I hope they get that opportunity. I know Jokic, like we just said, they've been in 7 Game 7s already. It'll be their eighth. Like clearly, like you said, the experience is it's a big marker. But hopefully, you get a good game from somebody, man. Like I'm saying, Aaron Wiggins, Caruso, Case and Wallace, like the guys that have been doing it all year, and for the Thunder are here. This is it. So I
Thunder
like
up.
that. Thunder up, baby,
Let's
for
go.
sure. But are
Yes,
you ready
sir.
to answer some trivia questions, man? I've been waiting. I've been waiting all podcast for your answers because we talked about it before. But I'm excited, man. I got some. For the audience, I'm coming at him with some NBA playoff Game 7 trivia. So this is specific to Game 7 because he's got a Game 7 he got to watch tomorrow. So CJ, you ready to answer these questions I got?
Yes, sir.
All right, my boy. Starting off strong, man. Which player holds the NBA record for the most points scored in a Game 7 in NBA playoff history?
So I think I told you for this one. I think I might know this. So hopefully I'm right. Um, is it Steph Curry?
It was. Can you think about who might have passed him?
Oh shit. So it was recently then.
Very recent. And you got to think about, like, yeah, it was recent.
It
It
was
was very
recent.
recent. Yeah.
Was it Jokic? No. Was that?
It's 50.
It was 50.
That's like what he did as like his sign.
Oh, is it Ant?
Nah. One more guess.
50.
You're gonna be mad as fuck.
Oh, no, no, no. Hold on.
Think about it.
Oh, is it Tatum?
Jason Tatum. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
do you know the team that he did it against?
Oh, was it the Sixers?
It was.
Got you.
Wow.
How much did Curry drop? Was it like 48?
Yeah, I think it was like 48. I think Tatum had 51.
Yeah, because that
in a
Curry
game
one was
7.
against the Kings, right?
Yeah, I think it goes LeBron, Curry, Tatum. LeBron 45, Curry 48, Tatum 51. And Tatum was the most recent.
Yeah,
That's why I was like that.
that's
But
crazy.
yeah, I was gonna say I was like, he's gonna get this. Like I know he's got to think about it.
Yeah,
But
fuck.
that was good though. No, you got it. I would say you got it. Like no
Thanks.
help, no help. So
Appreciate that.
that'll count. I'll count that. You'll get 3. So for the audience, you'll get 3 solid guesses. I think that's enough. And
Okay,
then I'll give them the answer.
for
All
sure.
right, but next question. Who are the only, or obviously the only players in NBA history to record a triple double in multiple game sevens in their career in the NBA postseason?
Could I
This is
like how many players is there? Could I know
there's
that?
3.
There's 3.
Yep,
Okay. Multiple
there's
game
3. And if you,
sevens.
I feel like you can get 2, but there's one that's like, wow.
Fuck. You got me. Okay, is it has Jokic done it?
Yes,
Okay.
1.
Has LeBron?
No.
No. That's interesting.
Yeah, but you're on the right path. Like it's guys that are like they're doing that. But
They're like
one
that.
of them is like you wouldn't expect it, but like makes sense.
Is Giannis up there?
Good guess.
No.
Good guess. This next dude is somebody who's like clearly just a beast, bro. Like he can put up a triple double like easy.
Luca? No. Fuck. I feel like I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, you might be overthinking just a bit. He's like so good.
Fuck. I don't know if I'm
He's a
gonna get
legend.
this.
He's a legend. He's like yeah. Oh man, you're gonna be pissed too because I'm gonna be like, oh, you gotta think too deep. He's MVP. He's one of your guys. Like he's so good.
KD?
Nah, Westbrook. So that's the second one.
Oh.
Two. So he had a triple double in a game 7 twice in his career.
Really? Was that
Yeah,
with
same with
OKC?
the. So yeah, both with OKC. One in 2011 versus the Grizzlies, and then one in 2014 versus the Grizzlies.
Damn. I didn't know that. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a good one. So
That is a good
Jokic and
one.
Westbrook, and then the last one.
You said it's one of those like what the fucks.
It's like weird, but when you think about it, it's not. And it was at a time period when like a big 3 era was like just starting out. So you got to think about like. And like this was like when the playoffs were like they were just going at it, so it makes sense. Like, and this franchise too, like very historic.
Is it? Nah, it's not like Tim Duncan, right?
No, but you're on the right path. Like think those types of players, like that
Hakeem?
during that time period. Close, no. Later.
Later?
Tim Duncan's the right era.
Okay.
Like Ginobili, like that, like 2008 to 2016, like that
Okay.
era. Like
Tri-
you're in the right
triple
place.
doubles.
Yeah, like he was good too for this team. Like he was running the offense. Like he was good, man. Played in the East.
Fuck, I'm gonna be pissed, bro.
You're gonna be pissed.
I I don't know, bro.
Okay. On Rondo.
Rondo, of course.
Rondo.
Damn.
Wow. In 2012, both times.
Wow.
But yeah, those are the only 3 players to do that. So, like you said, Nikola Jokic has been in 8 game 7s. He's had triple doubles. You know he's going to get at least 2.
Yeah.
Westbrook, I thought you might get. I was like, he might remember
Yeah,
because he had one so early, but like we were younger back then when he did
yeah.
that.
And then 2014 was
Yeah.
that was the year KD got injured, right?
hmm So yeah, that it was funny. It was both against the Grizzlies, but Rondo was that one that was like crazy. But hey,
It make
you did good to get one.
it
So
makes sense. Damn.
yeah, bro.
I'm a
And
little sad
then
I didn't get that.
obviously, this one might be easy, but which franchise has played in the most Game Sevens in NBA playoff history?
Ooh.
That's tough, actually.
Is it I don't want to like never mind.
You got three guesses, so
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if it's like the basic ones, like something I should know, or if it's like, that's what I'm trying to think of. Like teams that have just been around for a while.
mm-hmm.
But
You're on the right path.
Celtics?
Yep. Dang, I thought I was gonna get you at that one. Dang, 37 times in a
Damn.
Game 7. So a lot of winner go home situations, but man, bro, I think that's all the questions that I have for you for today. I think we got to do a segment, bro. I was thinking about this too. We're gonna do some trivia, but we're gonna do it in person. We're gonna go into court, and we're gonna do a little battle, bro. And basically, we're gonna play horse. And if you hit the shot right, you hit the shot, cool, whatever. But if you get the question right, that's double points. And so
Gotcha.
whoever's with the most points, like they're gonna win. And
Yeah.
then whoever loses got to do like eating challenge, like a push-up challenge, something like hard that's kind
That's
of gross. Like you got to eat like two triple meat Whataburger cheeseburgers or
oh
something.
shit.
Like something that's
That's
gonna make you shit, bro.
fuck your shit.
Like it's good, but you gotta finish that.
Yeah,
It's kind of
okay,
gross,
yeah.
you
I'm
know.
with it. I'm with it. I'm with
Like
it.
that idea.
Yeah, that's fire, bro.
For sure. So I gotta keep some questions in the bag, basically.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
But
for sure.
I'm glad you guys like this segment for sure. But CJ, you got anything else for us, bro?
Nah, man, just tomorrow 2:30.
Oh,
You know where I'm gonna be at in front of the screen
oh,
at the crib, locked in with this game, bro. So like Coach Adelman said, if you love basketball, this is the game to watch. Game 7.
that's
It's
good.
what all basketball fans, what we love to hear. It's our two favorite words. So,
100%.
just super excited for that, and hopefully the boys are able to get this dub and advance to the Western Conference Finals, man.
No doubt, bro. I'm extremely excited, and yeah, man, we got we're putting bows on all these series. As they're wrapping up, and obviously we got the Pacers, Knicks, and we're gonna figure out who the Timberwolves are playing. But I'm extremely excited to watch this Game 7, and yeah, man. Unfortunately, the Lakers aren't here, but obviously it's Lake Show forever. Celtics are out, so I'm happy about that. But tomorrow's going to be a great day, man. It's a great day for hoops. Any day is a great day for hoops. Even on a Monday, 52nd game of the season.
Yep, 100%.
Don't matter, man. So I'm excited, bro. I appreciate your time.
Of course, man. And if y'all liked and enjoyed this episode of Three Man Weave, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time, man. Peace. Three man, three man,
Peace.
three man.